Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today is my March wrap up. So in March, I read or listened to 10 books. So in total, I read six and I listened to four. I read 2,475 pages and I listened to about 32 hours. Excuse me. So here are the books that I read in March. So I'm going to combine four books together. So I read The Immortals Quartet by Tamora Pierce, which is Wild Magic, Wolf Speaker, um, Emperor Mage, and The Realm of the Gods. And actually, I listened to those four books throughout the month. And these books follow Dane, who has wild magic. And she doesn't realize that she has wild magic at first. She just thinks that she's got a special connection with animals. Until one day, her town kind of runs her out. And we learn more about why in the first book. Um, and so now she's looking for work. And she comes across Anue, who I think that's her name. She sells horses to the queen's riders in the land of Tortal. And so she is hired on by Anue to work with horses and to take care of them as they bring them to the queen to purchase. And while they're there, or while they're traveling there in the first book, um, they discover that the barrier between our world, our land of the mortals, and the land of the immortals and the gods, it has kind of been broken down. So things like spydrons, who are big, crazy spiders, and huroks, which are a combination of eagles and humans, and storm wings. Storm wings are the name, which are like human faces and then like steel winged animals. They are now attacking humans, and so how can the people of Tortal fight against these creatures? And so Dane in the first book just befriends a bunch of people. One of them is Numair, who is an extremely powerful mage in the land of Tortal, and he takes her under his wing and begins to teach her about her magic. And the rest of the books just follow their adventures as they develop a friendship and a relationship, and also as they battle not only these immortals who are attacking um, the people of Tortal, but also the Carthakis um, is another land near Tortal that they have a tenuous relationship with. Then the next book I read was, and overall those four books each book I gave 4 out of 5 stars. And I love those books. I've read them numerous times over the years, and it was interesting to listen to them. The audiobooks that I found, the narrator is Tamora Pierce herself, and then there's different actors who play the different roles. The next book I read was Well Played by Jen Deluca. And I'm sorry I'm not flashing the book. I don't have a physical copy of the book, and I don't know how to edit videos, so I don't know how to do, like, I know a lot of people like will post a picture of the video above their heads. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. So you're going to hear my voice for a little bit. So Well Played I gave 3.5 stars out of 5. And really it was like the romance and the relationship that was developed that saved it for me. There are some problems that I had with this book. But basically, Stacy is very dissatisfied with living in a small town. And this is our second book in a series of books that Jen DeLuca has written that center around this small town and the Renaissance Fair that it hosts every summer. And one summer, she has a summer fling with Dex, who is part of a band that they make their living by traveling from Renaissance Fair to Renaissance Fair. And so she has a summer fling with Dex. And one night after his band leaves for the next fair, she gets drunk because she's feeling very lonely and like, why did I move back? Like, she's feeling caught in this small town. She emails him, or she messages him, and she ends up striking up a year-long communication with him um, through text messaging and email. But it turns out she wasn't actually communicating with Dex. She was communicating with Dean, his cousin, and falling in love with Dean apparently through these messages. Um, yeah, that's kind of a spoiler that I gave. I'm sorry, but on the back of the book, it kind of alludes to this happening. So I really don't think it's that much of a spoiler. At any rate, it didn't answer like how that happened and how she didn't know. There was a lot of things that she forgave Dean, and I just really struggled with, I don't know if I would have forgiven him. The next book that I read was Well Matched by Jen Deluca, and then I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I actually might bump it down to 2.5. I don't know. This one I struggled with too. This one follows April Parker, who's a single mom, and she has lived in this small town for 14 years, and she has never gotten involved. She's got a daughter who's graduating high school. She has never gotten involved. Her daughter is part of the Renaissance Fair, has been part of this Renaissance Fair for 3 years. The Renaissance Fair is on the weekends when she's not working. She has never gone to see her daughter at the Renaissance Fair. That's something that I really struggled with in this book. I'm not going to lie. And April is portrayed as having a really positive relationship with her daughter, but she has never seen her daughter do any of her extracurricular activities because April has such big social anxiety. Maybe I'm not being gracious towards people with social anxiety. I don't know. I'm speaking from the perspective of a teacher so maybe I'm not being understanding enough. So if I'm not, please correct me gently in the comments below. I want to be more understanding. And also, this is a piece of fiction. I have to remember that. But that was kind of a big hang up that I had with this book. But ultimately, this is a story that she's trying to move on. Her daughter's graduating, so she's going to get ready to sell her house, but she needs to fix it up a little bit before she sells it. Well, her friend Mitch is saying, hey, like, I'll help you with some of the house repairs and get your house ready for sale, but I need you to pretend to be my girlfriend for a family dinner, because while I am the baseball coach and I'm the PE teacher in town, like, my family just doesn't take me seriously, so I need you to be my girlfriend for this dinner. Well, the dinner ends up turning out to be a weekend. And so, of course, they fall in love. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the relationship that April had with Mitch. I enjoyed seeing characters from the other stories in this book. I struggled with how they portrayed her social anxiety. Then the next book I read was, my books are now sliding, is Page by Tamora Pierce, and this is the second book in the Protector of the Small series, and this I gave 4.5 stars out of 5. Actually, I might give it only 4. I don't know. But this follows Caladria of Midlien. She's completed her probationary year, and she's now a page. And so it follows her adventures as she is the first female to openly train to become a knight in the land of Tortall. And so, because this is the third quartet in a series of books that Tamora Pierce has written, we get some of those characters from the first 2 quartets in these books. It's great to see them show up too. But this also is fun to read because as she's getting older and the boys that she's training with are getting older, of course, hormones are kicking in, crushes are happening, so that's also really fun to read. Then the next book I read was Full Moon by Jim Butcher, and I think I initially gave it, hold on, let me see, finding in my thing, I initially gave it 2.75 stars. Oh no, this should be 2 stars. This was a freaking bloodbath. So in this book, Harry Dresden, the wizard, the wizard who advertises his services in the Yellow Pages, he is now trying to help the Special Investigation Unit of the police department track down and hunt down werewolves. And it was I don't know, like the plot there, to me there wasn't much plot other than track down the werewolves and lots of bloodbaths. And at first you're reading it and you're going, this is horrifying. And then at one point I started laughing because I have no clue how Harry was still alive. He was still alive and kicking, and he was dragging himself around fighting against these werewolves, and I don't know how he was doing that. But he did. And then it became very disgusting. There was something that Butcher included in one of the fight scenes that I don't think was unnecessary. And I think he did it to be like shock value and just like, this is how bad it is. It was already bad. We didn't need it. I didn't need to worry about what was happening. And then it became funny. Then it became gross again. So the only reason why I have continued on with Grave Peril, which I'm on page 126, it is leaps and bounds better than this book. The only reason why I'm continuing on is because other booktubers have raved about Dresden Files, have said it gets better, and it gets better and gets better. If I didn't have Discord, if I did not have BookTube, and I was just going on the first 2 books of Dresden Files, I probably would have stopped reading after this book. Because that's how disgusting this book was. So, moving on from that, we had just a perfectly glorious book, In Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. This was 5 out of 5 stars. Beautiful, beautiful book. So this is the 3rd book in the Tawny trilogy, the 9th book in the Realm of the Elderlings. This book has just such a perfect ending where she just ties up all the ends that, honestly, the whole Realm of the Elderlings could have finished here. There are some things that weren't fully answered, but, the ends that needed to be wrapped up and that we wanted wrapped up are wrapped up. But this continues to follow, actually take that back. There is one kind of big thing that's not quite wrapped up. But this follows Fitz and the Fool and picks up the major conflict and quest that was thrown down in Golden Fool. And it so beautifully written. The characters are so beautifully written, and the relationships are so strong. I don't know how she does it. So if you have not heard of Robin Hobb, if you have not read anything by her, you need to start reading her. She's perfect. Then the last book I read this month is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. And this is a Newbery winner, and it's a middle grade book. I believe I gave this 3.5 stars. I did. I wanted to like it more. This is the story of Zan, who is a witch who lives in the forest, and the people of the Protectorate, every year they leave out a baby, and they sacrifice this baby to the witch. So they think that the baby's getting eaten by the witch. No, Zan is taking the baby through the forest to people who live on the other side of the forest, and she's adopting the babies out to them. Well, one year, one of the babies ends up being fed from moonlight by mistake. And as a result, this baby leaks magic everywhere. Well, because the baby has no control of the magic, it's a danger to herself and others. So Zan binds up her magic. As a result, when Luna turns 13, that magic will be unleashed. And that can become very dangerous for Zan and for other people. In addition, this is a story about a man who is on a quest to slay the witch to protect the people in the protectorate, so that way sacrificing babies no longer has to occur. It has some big themes that it portrays. It also, in addition, with Zan shares the forest with a the bog monster, and then also a perfectly tiny dragon. Like, the dragon is pocket-sized. He's super cute. So it portrays some really big themes that I feel like that I wanted to be developed bigger and developed more. And I think maybe my disappointment was because it is middle grade, and so there wasn't as much development. But there are some pretty adult themes that were touched on in here. In addition, I didn't really feel like the characters were really all that developed. Now, to be fair to this book, this was coming off of Rob and Hobb. I spent 6 books with some of these characters, and Rob Hobb is also a master at character development. So I think that's part of the reason why this book suffers, is it was in comparison towards that book. Had I read it like right after I read Full Moon, I'd probably been like, this is great. But yeah, the characters I didn't feel like were terribly developed, which was very disappointing, because I think there was some stuff that were there. There was one character, so I read this for a book discussion group that I'm a part of with, it's called the Napping Bibliophile. We're a Facebook group, so feel free to join us. And the administrator of that group hosts book discussions every month, and this was the book that the group selected to read. And we actually said there's a character in here that shows up towards like the later third of the book that we felt was well more developed than like some of the characters that we were like, these clearly are main characters, but we don't think that they're very developed. So there's that. I still think it's valuable to read. I do recommend it, but I just wish it was better developed. So that's what I read in March. I'm looking forward to April. Something that I've already started in March is Grave Peril and Dragon Keeper. So I'm looking forward to finishing those. I posted my April ideas yesterday, I believe, or the other day. So check that video out too. Let me know if you've liked this video. Please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on the books that I've read? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Like, I would love to know. Please change my mind on some of the things that I was like, nope, didn't like. Like, I want my mind to be changed. Let me know what you're reading. If you've got any recommendations based on some of the things that I've liked, and you're like, oh man, if you like Hobb, you'll love this person, let me know. I'm always looking forward to some new things to read. You have a wonderful rest of your week. It's Thursday, we got Friday, we're almost there. Happy reading, everyone.